Week 11 is over. I'm going to get into the Week 12 NFL Power Rankings. Before I do, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. We have NFL picks against the spread, college football picks against the spread, 2026 and 2027 NFL mock drafts. We have these power rankings, which you can see on the screen here. We grade every signing, we grade every trade. It's all at walterfootball.com. It's all free, so check us out. All right, let's get to these power rankings for Week 12. We're going to go from bottom to top, as always. Going to start number 32, Tennessee Titans, the worst team in the NFL, although they did cover the spread, which means they're now 6-24 against the spread since week 1 of last year. That's just remarkable. They've been a money printing machine. If you just faded them, unfortunately, like I said, that kind of broke the streak of them covering last week against Houston, but it was just a bad spot for Houston. Kind of, that was not too easy. I mean, not too difficult to figure out, but we didn't bet it either way. It's just I didn't want to bet on Tennessee, but I thought Houston was in a very tricky spot, coming off a comeback win and then playing against a team they already beat, and then having to play on Thursday night against the Bills. Just despite that tough spot, they still won. So and the fact they had a backup quarterback. Number 31, the New York Jets, who are going to Tyrod Taylor for some reason. I know Justin Fields hasn't been good, but he's gotten 2 wins in the last 3 games, and they're just making the change. Feels like they could lose the locker room. Not that it matters. It's actually probably for the best because they get a better draft pick. But yeah, I don't understand the switch. Again, I'm not a big Justin Fields fan. Just seems like a weird time to do it. Like why not bench him when he plays a terrible game? He wasn't awful against the Patriots. He wasn't good, but it wasn't his fault that they lost. So, yeah, it's just very strange situation there. Number 30, the Washington Redskins, who almost won against Miami in Spain. I don't really take those stupid European games seriously, so I'm not going to read too much into it. But yeah, it's a shame. This is such a lost season for Washington. They had so much promise, and Jane Daniels was just never healthy. Number 29, the Saints, who before the bye, Tyler Shuck actually looked pretty good. He had 2 games, one where he was kind of overmatched against the Rams defense that just forced Sam Darnold to the 4 interceptions. And then he played well against Carolina. So kind of eager to see what happens with him. If he finishes well, I imagine they're going to try to give him the starting job next year. It was the 40th pick they spent. So unless they fall in love with the quarterback in this class, I assume that they're just going to go with Tyler Shuck. Plus, if he plays well, maybe they win enough games to not even draft a quarterback. So we'll see what happens. That should be interesting. Number 28, Miami Dolphins. I got some flack from a lot of people for not moving them up because they beat Buffalo. Well, lo and behold, they almost lose to Washington. This team just sucks. They have no defense. They have no offensive line. They barely have any weapons. Tua is so inconsistent. Usually sucks. The head coach looks like a crack addict. This team is definitely a Group F team. So yeah, I know that they've had some wins recently, but they're really not good. We had number 27, the Raiders, and kind of wonder if they should be in Group F. They have some. I was about to say they have a lot of talent. They don't have a lot of talent, but they have some talent, like Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, Max Crosby. There's some other guys too, like Colton Miller when he comes back from injury, and Geno Smith's. He hasn't played well this year, despite Mina Kimes, ESPN's DI hire, saying that he was a top 10 quarterback. But Geno Smith's not awful. He's not Dylan Gabriel. He's not he's not. He's certainly not Shore Sanders. Get to him in a bit. But I don't know. It's very close, and they've been competitive with other Group D teams, and most Group C teams, not Dallas. But they've kept a decent number of the games close. So I'm going to keep them in Group D for now, but I don't know. I could be talked into them being Group F. Number 26, the Bengals, who were a big disappointment. I liked them a lot against Pittsburgh, plus 5.5. I thought they could maybe pull the upset. And it was close. It was 13-9 in the third quarter, but then Joe Flacco threw a pick 6, and then things just unraveled with that defense, as you might expect. But yeah, it just felt like Joe Flacco was kind of regressing, and maybe it's his 40-year-old body breaking down. I thought Aaron Rodgers was breaking down similarly, but he got injured, and Mason Rudolph came in and was better. So we'll get to Pittsburgh too. Number 25, we have the New York Giants, who are better than this when Jackson Dart plays. We don't know if Jackson Dart's going to play this week. He's still in concussion protocol. But the Giants said they were optimistic, I think, but still that doesn't mean he's going to play. If Jackson Dart plays, I think the Giants are a Group C team, so I'd move them up like 5 spots. This ranking is the Giants without Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, who on paper he played pretty well, but there were so many dropped interceptions. The Packers just didn't take advantage of them. Number 24, we have the Browns. Now, so I was kind of confused about where to rank them because I think they're here with Dillon Gabriel, who is a safe quarterback. He's not good at all, like not even close. In fact, I don't think he's in a second stringer in the NFL. But he's not he's not just an abomination like Shedeur Sanders was. Sorry, Justine Anderson, if you're listening, just cover your ears. But Shedeur Sanders might be one of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen in NFL history. He was so bad. 4 of 16, 47 yards and an interception. Justine Anderson kept saying, he didn't practice at all. And it's like, well, most quarterbacks don't practice very much at all. I don't understand what was going on with her. I accused her of being paid by Dion, and then she gave me. I said like what's wrong with these people? Like they seem to be paid by Dion or something of that nature. And then she said these people, and I'm like, yeah, these people, the imbeciles who are praising Shedeur Sanders. And then she blocked me. It's so funny. I was kind of surprised she had no brain cells to understand where the block button was. She was another DEI hire by ESPN back in the day. She was so bad she doesn't even work for ESPN anymore. It's kind of sad that her life has devolved like that. Anyway, with number 23, we have Atlanta, and this is I moved them down a little bit, actually into Group D because Michael Penix is now out. And also Drake London's injured too, but Penix is out. That's the big thing. And it's going to be Kirk Cousins moving forward, which a couple of years ago would have been nice, but he just hasn't recovered from his torn Achilles. He looks like a shell of himself. Another old quarterback whose body's breaking down. Number 22, the Panthers. So I assume I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't really care. The Panthers are not a good team. They're 6-5. I know it's a good record. Looks cool. If you told the Panthers they'd be 6-5 after week 11 heading into the season, they would have taken it. But they lost to the Saints 17-7. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? This team has issues getting to 20 points most weeks. Bryce Young's actually, I'll give him credit. He was great last week, but I think that was more Atlanta just being jet lagged from their 11-hour trip from Germany. I don't understand why they didn't take the bye. They have the option to do so, and they're like, hey, we'll take a week 5 bye instead of taking a bye after our our Germany trip. And it's so stupid. Teams actually don't even like week 5 buys. Detroit last year, when they heard they had a week 5 bye, they were irate. Now the Eagles had a week 5 bye also, and they won the Super Bowl. So no excuses, but still, it just made no sense. Raheem Morris is one of the dumbest coaches in the NFL, head coaches. He's a really good defense coordinator. So maybe he's kind of like the next like Wade Phillips or Norv Turner or Josh McDaniels, where he's a good coordinator, but he just can't cut it as a head coach. Seems that way. Anyway, the Panthers have severe defensive issues. They're 24th in defense. Bryce Young can't be trusted. Now they have some good things going for them. They have a good running game. Rico Doodle, we call him Doodle on the show. Terrell McMillan had a great game. I hope he doesn't ruin our Emeka Ibuka 40-1 Rookie of the Year bet, which he could still do. Probably going to hedge that one, but yeah. So they have some good things, but they have a lot of bad things too, and it's just not a good team. So we go to Group C now, and you have the Arizona Cardinals, who are 3-7, but they're 5 plays away from being 8-2. It's kind of nuts. Think about it, like Arizona's dominating Carolina. So, if you wonder, like, hey, why is the 3-7 team ahead of the 6-5 team? Well, Arizona, I think is better than Carolina. That's why I put them above them. But they're 12th in defense still. Jacoby Brissett has had some good games now, a couple of blowouts recently, but it's upper level competition here with Seattle and San Francisco with Brock Purdy back. So I don't really blame Arizona for this. And now they take on Jacksonville. It's kind of like more their level. If they get blown out again, then I'm probably going to move them down to Group D, but right now I think they still are an average team or slightly below average. Number 20, the Vikings, and really you could talk me into them being a Group D. Now they moved down from 13 to 20, but JJ McCarthy was so bad. And I mentioned this yesterday. I don't understand why he was the first round pick. I never did. This is not hindsight. I thought that the entire time when he was at Michigan, I was just watching him. I was like, this guy looks like a third round pick, but he might go second round because quarterback demand is so high. Like that's what I thought. And then suddenly there was talk about him going top 10, and I was like, why? Like what? Like why? It just made no sense. I was actually talking to I mentioned this. I was talking to Evan Daniel, who comes on our show on Thursday, and Evan was like, I didn't even think that McCarthy should have been drafted. So yeah, I don't. I mean, that's what he looks like right now. He looks like a UDFA. Just an abomination of a quarterback. He has no feel for the game. He's not like he's not a great talent either. He's not like some raw guy who's going to get better. Um, I don't know. It's just a very, very strange pick for the Vikings. And they had Daniel Jones, they had Sam Darnold last year. They let both of them go for JJ McCarthy. It's a pretty rough scene in Minnesota. 19, the Steelers, who they had Mason Rudolph save the day for them. Or I guess the pick six by Kyle Duggar too. But Aaron Rodgers, he does not look like what we thought we might see from him after that week 1 game where he scored, was it 34 points against the Jets, I think. It looks like his body's breaking down too, and he just doesn't want to take hits, and he's releasing the ball quickly. It's not going to end well. The Steelers really should just go forward with Mason Rudolph, who for some reason just plays better for them than he does in Tennessee, which, given how bad Tennessee is, maybe that's not a surprise. Number 18, we have the Chargers, who moved down from 12. Their offensive line was a disaster against the Jaguars. This is what I thought we'd see in that Pittsburgh game. Justin Herbert was beaten to a pulp. I thought he'd be knocked out with the concussion right before I have to. He took, if you didn't see the game, like he just took such a brutal hit. It looked like his neck snapped in half. It's just so bad. And Trey Lance was warming up, and somehow he stayed in the game, but he looked like he was concussed or something. Just pretty sad. Now he has a bye week to heal up, but Joe Alt's not coming back anytime soon. So it's gonna be a lost season for the Chargers, which is a shame because they looked so good when they were 3-0. The Jaguars, who just beat the Chargers, are number 17. I don't like this team. They're 6-4, and it feels like they're a little too high. But I look at the teams below them, and I'm like, they're probably better than them. But their defense is pretty mediocre. Their offensive line allows a lot of sacks. Trevor Lawrence stinks. They have some good things going for them too. The running game mostly. They have a good edge rush. But they're just pretty mediocre. So I guess 17 is just fine. Number 16, the Texans, who they're back to 5-5, and they won against Tennessee with their backup quarterback in a tough spot. So even though it was a non-cover, and the old saying is good teams win, great teams cover, I still think it was a solid performance, especially given the circumstances. Now, the big test is against Buffalo on Thursday. We'll see how they do against the Bills. Number 15, the Cowboys, who've improved to 4-5-1. I moved them up from Group D to C recently, and then now they moved up again a little bit because they got Quinn Williams and Logan Wilson, who allowed the defense to look a lot better. Now, granted, it was against the Raiders, and I had a laugh at the like it was Lisa Salters interviewing Dak Prescott after the game, and she's like, "Your offense struggled before the bye, but now you're playing better. What happened?" And I'm like, they play the Raiders. That's what happened. We'll see how they do against real teams. They play the Eagles. Dallas usually plays the Eagles well at home, so we'll see what happens. But they could pull the upset. I wouldn't be too surprised. Number 14, we have the the Bears at number 14. I imagine I'm going to get a lot of hate for this too. Again, I don't really care, but I definitely love the feedback. Love getting negative and positive feedback. It helps because I'm not going to get everything right. I'd like to hear like opinions about why I'm wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong about this one. The Bears are 7-3 now. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games, which is pretty nice. But man, they've not looked that good in most of their games. Like they could have lost to the Saints. Or I'm sorry, they could have lost to the Redskins. They could have lost to the Raiders. They could have lost to the Giants. They had a nice win against the Saints, but it's the Saints. Like they lost to the Tyler Huntley led Ravens. Like how good can this team be? If Jackson Dart didn't get a concussion, they would have lost to the Giants at home. Like let's be real here. This defense is awful. They get the worst. They have the worst pressure rate in the NFL. Caleb Williams is inconsistent. Again, they have some good aspects like the other teams we're talking about. Like they run the ball well. Dunze is a stud. They have some good pieces on defense, but those pieces are kind of injured right now. I think they're well coached for the most part. But this team is just mediocre at best right now. Number 13, the 49ers are 7-4 now. They've had a very easy schedule, but Brock Purdy's back. Ricky Pearsall is also back, although he didn't do much. I assume he's going to do much more in the coming weeks. So this is the Niners moving up because of Brock Purdy, not because they had an easy win against Arizona. Number 12, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who once again cannot beat a team above them in the power rankings. They only beat Group C and below teams. They can't. Whenever they step up in competition, they lose. Like they're getting blown out against the Eagles until garbage time. They lose by 15 to the Lions. They lose to the Patriots at home. Now they lose to the Bills. And it was everything was going Tampa's way too. The Bills were playing a very poor first half, and yet the Bills still won by 12. So Tampa is just, they're good enough to win the division, but they're not really good enough to win outside the division, which is a problem in the playoffs because they won't get to play NFC South teams. Number 11, Denver, and I think this is going to be the main one where I'll get hate. The 9-2 team at number 11. I'm still old enough to remember 10-7 against the Raiders. I'm old enough to remember 13-11 against the Jets. I'm old enough to remember losing, was it 19-0 against the Giants, and definitely old enough to remember the 8-point win against the Titans in Week 1. This is a very sketchy team. I love their defense, and I like Courtland Sutton. The offensive line is not bad. Sean Payton's a good coach, but I don't trust Bo Nix at all. He's so inconsistent. Now, for some reason, he plays well in the fourth quarter, and I think it's because he doesn't think. I think he thinks too much when he's playing early in the game. Like his footwork really gets screwed up. But I think like when his instincts take over, that's when he plays better. And I'd like to see him do that for the entire game. And if he does start to do that, then I think Denver will have actually real potential to make a playoff run. But this looks like a one and done team. Bo Nix against a tough opponent in the playoffs. I feel like he's going to think way too much and maybe potentially get blown out like last year. Group B now, the Packers, who were 6-3-1. Josh Jacobs got hurt. Luckily, it's not too bad of an injury. He might miss one game maybe, but it sounds like he's going to be back sooner rather than later. And the Packers, they barely beat the Giants, which looks bad, but they dropped so many passes, not just on offense, on defense too. Like they could have had 3 or 4 interceptions from Jameis, and they just didn't take advantage of it. And then they were dropping passes offensively too. I don't know why. Maybe it was the weather. But either way, despite all the things that went wrong in the game, they still won by 7. So they pushed. I mean, it's good teams win, great teams cover. I don't know who pushes, but I guess teams I bet push. I don't know. This is underwhelming, I guess, but still they have a lot of potential. So they're still a top 10 team. Number 9. We have the Patriots at 9-2. We'll see. I mean, everyone complains about the Patriots schedule, but they did win in Buffalo, which is a big deal. They won in Tampa, which is nice. And they played a lot of bad teams, but they've blown out those teams. Like you can only play the teams you have on their schedule. Now, if they had played those teams to like 3-point games, like if they beaten the Browns by 3, if they beaten the Saints by 3, if they beaten the Titans by 3, I'd be worried. But they've won by margin in most of their games, and so that demonstrates that they can play better against tough competition. And we saw that with their win in Buffalo. So. Like I said, this is definitely a top 10 team right now. Number 8, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who are crawled back to 5-5. Lamar Jackson doesn't look healthy though, so that's a worry for me. Now he could be healthy sooner rather than later. Just his knee was an issue apparently in practice, and he only ran twice against the Browns, so it's pretty evident that he just wasn't 100%. Yet the Ravens still won despite giving up 13 points on defense and special teams. Just really another tilting game. Felt like we should have had the right side, and we also bet the Browns team total under, and of course they get a pick 6 that bounced off Keaton Mitchell's hands, or 6 points off special teams. Just man, it's like we run well like one of these weeks. I'd love it. Number 7, the Colts, who looked a little shaky, especially with Daniel Jones before the bye, but maybe the bye week will allow Steichen to get Daniel Jones right and have him play like at the beginning of the season. But Jonathan Taylor just looks so good, and A big game against the Chiefs. We'll see how good the Colts are. It's their first real test here against a top opponent in the AFC. I know they played Denver, but Denver is not in the echelon of Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. Number 6, we have the Lions, who I wrote here that they're not in good shape because they're probably going to have to play outdoors now if they make the playoffs, just because they're not going to have home field advantage. And Jared Goff in bad conditions is usually pretty poor. Jared Goff, when he's pressured a lot, is also very poor, and he saw both against the Eagles, so not a surprise that the Eagles beat the Lions. But yeah, I mean, the Lions, they really need to go on a big winning streak to secure some home games in the playoffs. Otherwise, it's just going to be quickly one and done in the playoffs, even if they even make it. We get to the top 5 now, and the Seahawks are number 5. Big test against the Rams, and they almost won. It's a missed field goal away, but still, they were down 14-3. They're down 21-12. Just felt like the Rams were the better team, and Darnold once again just disappointed in a big moment against a tough team. I said yesterday that he needs Mr. Miyagi to tell him that it's okay to lose an opponent. It's not okay to lose the fear, like Miyagi told Daniel San in Karate Kid 3, and maybe Darnold San will eventually emerge to beat the Rams, but doesn't look good. Doesn't look good right now. He needs some psychological help. Number 4, we have the Chiefs, and this is going to be a complaint too. How can the Chiefs be 5-5? Number 4, they're 5-5. Well, the Chiefs are still the defending AFC champions. They still have Patrick Mahomes. Last I checked, they still have Andy Reid. They still have Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce and a good offensive line. Look, they lost to the Bills and the Broncos at Denver on the road. Like, there's really no shame in that. And I think that if they went on a winning streak and finished 12-5, would anybody be shocked? I really don't think so. I still think they're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. I just don't look at records when you try to rank teams. I think that's a big mistake. One of the worst quotes of all time for Bill Parcells was "You are what your record is," and that's completely wrong. It's so stupid. Like, you can't tell me that people think the Bears are better than Chiefs. Like, that's nonsense. If the Bears and Chiefs played on a neutral field, the Chiefs would be favored by like 5.5 or 6 points at least. And for good reason. Like, like, no sane person thinks that. And I know Mike Florio ranked the Bears out of the Chiefs, but Mike Florio doesn't have any functioning brain cells, so let's ignore him. Number 3, the Bills are the top team here in the AFC. They rebounded off the loss to the Dolphins, a complete no-show, which was predictable, and they bounced back. They didn't even play that well against Tampa, and they still won by 12 points. So, Josh Allen, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He looks like he's in MVP form, so it's going to be between him and the quarterback in the next team, which is the Rams. So Matthew Stafford, who set the record with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in 3 consecutive games. He didn't play as well against Seattle, but he was going against the number 1 defense in the NFL, and he still had a really good game overall to lead the Rams to a victory over Seattle. And think about it, like, the Rams could be 9-1 if they didn't have that ridiculous collapse against the Eagles, and if their field goal wasn't blocked, they'd be 9-1 right now. So, and their only loss would be to the Niners, where they just really didn't try that hard, and they avenged that loss anyway. So the Rams look great. They look absolutely great. And, they were the only team to give the Eagles a fight in the playoffs last year. So if they have to go to Philly again and it's snowing, I think they can win, because this Philly team is, and they're number 1, but this Philly team is not as good as the team we had last year. Now, they're still the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. You could argue it should be the Rams, number 1. You could argue that it could be the Bills. I'm definitely open to that. But Philadelphia's defense right now looks so disgusting. But, they're already great, and they added Jalen Phillips. They aren't ranked number 1 overall right now in defense, but I think in 3, 4, 5 weeks, I think they might trend that way. I think they may have the best pass rush eventually. Maybe Denver and Seattle will still be ahead of them, but they're going to be very close to those teams in the overall numbers. And the only thing wrong with them right now is their offense. They're not run blocking as well, but that's something they can certainly fix. I don't think that's going to be guaranteed for the rest of the season. Like, if Saquon is ripping off 20, 30-yard runs on a routine basis come week 15, week 16, I don't think anyone would be surprised about that. So the Eagles have the most potential. That's why I ranked them number one. And right now, I think they should be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But there are a lot of teams that are close to. I mentioned the Rams, the Bills. I think the Chiefs, when they get their act together, the Ravens are racking up wins left and right. Seattle gave the Rams a run for their money despite 4 interceptions. So you could argue all those teams could be number one, but I still think the Eagles are number one right now. So those are my power rankings. Please let me know what I did wrong, because I base these power rankings on my picks and I use them for power ratings and stuff like that. And so definitely please let me know, because I'm, like I said, I'll make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I'd love to hear what I got wrong. But otherwise, please hit like, subscribe, share this video, and visit walterfootball.com for tons of content with the NFL every single day. And I'll talk to you in the next video.